Problem 4, as a slogan, I would call, whatever doesn't kill you makes you, and for all of history, we've said, stronger. Yeah, that's right. In Jonathan Haidt's book, The Coddling of the American Mind, he says, whatever doesn't kill you, as the slogan goes in contemporary culture, or by implication, makes you weaker. There's a tendency to avoid difficulty and hardship. In the campus, it might look like this. I want to join a fraternity so I can party for my first 2 years, but I'm going to drop out by the time I'm a junior, and I'm not going to pay my dues, so the fraternity is going to go into debt. And there's not going to be any kind of a feeling of responsibility for that. Doing homework assignments, I don't really want to. It's too much. I'm too overwhelmed. I'm just going to call in sick to work tomorrow because I don't want to go or I want to do this other thing. Even meeting people at a new social event. If I host an event on campus 10 years ago, I would say we averaged 100 to 120 people, not because things were more spiritual, but probably because people wanted to meet new people. The biggest barrier now is I don't want to risk in social situations. I don't want to go out with people I don't know to have new face-to-face interactions, so on and so forth. Whatever doesn't kill you, as the saying might go, makes you potentially weaker. Students are convinced that life today is harder than ever. Objectively, that's just not true. Just so you don't feel bad about yourself and you think that it is, trying to be empathetic, I really don't think that that's true at all. There's been much harder things happening in world history than what we're currently dealing with. Mental health has never been discussed more and yet been more problematic. And so there's a correlation between those two things. It's really interesting. The more it's addressed, oftentimes, the more it goes up. And Abigail Shrier, in her book, Bad Therapy, discusses that. I don't agree with everything she says. And as Ian said, those are important concerns. But it's worth considering why that's the case. And there's the sense that the financial pressures today are worse than ever. Again, objectively, that's probably just not true. Although they're challenging. As always, life is always challenging. And so if I were going to answer this, I would say the need in companies, in leadership, from people like you is clear values. The Jewish rabbi turned organizational theorist turned leadership guru, Edward Friedman, talks a lot about this in his book, Failure of Nerve. But he tells a story in elsewhere to articulate these principles. It's called Friedman's Fables. And what he says in that book, he tells a story of a man who is really sensitive. And he has his nerves actually grow on the outside of his body. And his wife becomes the biggest culprit for offending him, making him upset, and doing those things because she's constantly stepping on his nerves. And so as Friedman tells the story, well, what's the answer? We often think in our culture it's, well, give him distance, if that makes sense. And what she said, or what he says in that book, is what she does to respond to it is she begins stepping on his nerves. And he's, it hurts. You offended me. In all of these things. And what I would say is your clear values are a way to kind of say, this is where we're going. Are you going to join us or not? I've set the direction. Will you come with? At times you need to cater, but I don't think it's worth coddling people. They need to be challenged to grow. You're the most mature person in your organization, hopefully. Call them to your maturity. In our organization, we often say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And that's an unfortunate direction for organizations to take. Let the healthy people get the attention and call people who are struggling to health and help them, as Ian said, in the ways that they need that.